Alien Hominid for the Game Boy Advance is worth $200 to $300, but only if I can fix it. This one came from a viewer, and the viewer said they bought it online and it came broken. The seller gave them a partial refund, and so they offered it to me for this video. I don't know if they want their name in the video or not, so I'm not gonna say it, but you know who you are, and thank you for offering this to me for this video. Okay, I hear the game in there. So we got a box. Is this the... So we've got this little advertisement. That's cool. And what else do we have in here? Okay, little warning booklet. And then we have consumer information and precaution. Okay, no manual, which I expected. So it's not gonna be worth as much as if it had the manual. There we go. Also, the box is not in great condition, but it is cool that we have the box. That's gonna make it worth more just in itself. Okay, let's take a look at the cartridge now. Now, if we have time, I'll be taking a look at two other games, Harvest Moon, as well as Pokemon Crystal. This one I only paid $50 for, and it's worth $150 to $200. So we'll take a look at those if we have time. Let's check out Alien Hominid. Now, I do have to say this cartridge is in really, really nice condition. Got some scuffing here, but really not bad at all. The first thing we got to figure out though is if this thing is even real. So let's get it opened up, see if it's real, and then see if we can figure out what's wrong. Before we do that though, let's give it a test. Yeah, it's all scrambled. So that's definitely a problem. Okay, now we can take it apart. And I'm gonna go with a Y0 tri-wing. Okay, first look. Let's see how it looks. Okay, not too bad actually. Immediately I see this problem, but that might not be too big of a problem. Let's get under a microscope and check out everything else and see if this is the only problem. And yeah, immediately, like, obviously that's a problem. We've got no connection between here and here. So that's definitely a problem. Looking at the rest of these pins though, they don't look too bad. Let me get it out of the cartridge the rest of the way. Yep, so those really don't look bad. Let's check each of these legs and make sure each of the chip legs are soldered on. Okay, good there. And good there. Let's check these legs. And no problems there. And for anyone who might not know what I'm doing, this is the leg that comes from the chip, and this is the pad on the board. And these two need to be connected, and they do that with solder. And if there is a bad connection between the motherboard and the pin, then the game won't work. So far, that looks all good. Let's check the backside. Backside looks perfect. Also, this is definitely a real game. This chip is right, this chip is right, Nintendo logo is right. We've got all of these pins that look good. There's no holes drilled in them. We've got these 4 boxes on the back, and nothing else looks suspicious. So this is just a game in really good condition, other than this pin. So I'm gonna clean up all of these pins, then I'm gonna repair this one, and then we'll test this game. So what I'm gonna do first is put a little bit of deoxit on the pins. Then I'm gonna use a little bit of magic eraser to rub back and forth and clean the pins. This is somewhat of a controversial method of cleaning the pins, but I've found that it works great as long as you don't do it too often or for too long, just like that. And it gets the pins nice and clean without taking away too much material, which is what we'd be worried about. Now what I'm gonna do is clean off any gunk that might have come up from that. And we'll dry it. And then put just a very light coating of deoxit on the pins. And that's gonna help the connector inside the console stay clean. And there we go. Now it's time to repair this pin. So my strategy for this repair is going to be simply to solder a wire on from here over to here. I'm gonna put a little bit of flux on each side, and then I'm going to solder on a small wire, and after that I should be done. I do have this tape on here, hopefully to protect the pin from getting solder on it any more than it needs to. So we'll see if that'll work. Okay, with that wire on, I'm gonna cut the ends off, remove the tape. All right, and there we go. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, and then we'll get this game cartridge put back together, and then we can test it and see if that's all it took to fix this thing. PCBWay is a one-stop shop for everything PCB related, from prototyping and manufacturing to assembly and 3D printing. When you're working on something vintage like this old Nintendo game cartridge, having access to high-quality PCB services can make a huge difference. They offer standard and advanced PCB fabrication, PCB assembly, flex and rigid boards, CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, as well as 3D printing and injection molding for custom parts. Whether you're restoring old hardware or building something new from scratch, PCBWay makes it easy to bring your projects to life. If you'd like to check out PCBWay, I put a link right in the description that'll take you right there. Gotta say, the label on this is just really nice. This is actually a really good cartridge, I feel like. Obviously, it's been repaired, which isn't necessarily ideal, but really nice looking on the outside. And as long as it works when you start it up, that's what matters. Here we go. I just took a look down inside there and you can even see where that wire is soldered on, but main thing is whether it works. Seems to plug in how it should. So good so far. Let's see what happens when we try to turn it on. Oh, Nintendo logo, that's good. Come on. Yes, good, and there we go. So this game totally works now. That was actually a super easy fix. Let's check out those two other games and see if we can fix those as well. So this Harvest Moon game was also donated to me by a viewer from Germany. Thank you for the donation. The viewer said that they tried to fix it, but were not able to. So let's open it up. Actually, let's see what happens when we try to start it up. Okay, here we go. Oh, my Game Boy won't even power on. That's crazy. Okay, well, let's see what's going on with this game. I have the screw already out. And, oh, we have a fake game. One of the first ways I know is because these pins have holes in them. And that is the first telltale sign of it. Nintendo logo doesn't look right. And these chips also, wow, look at, so this is where they tried to repair it. And just like all of these traces on the circuit board have been torn up. That is crazy. So this is definitely a fake game, and it's not something that is easily fixable. And I'm definitely not gonna fix a fake game. So that's as far as we're gonna go with this one. Let's take a look at a game that I'm pretty sure is real, Pokemon Crystal. To be fair though, I haven't actually opened it up, so let's see if this one's real. So first, let's plug it in and see if this game works. Ooh, we just get a black bar. Okay, so it definitely doesn't work. Let's see what's going on inside the game cartridge. Okay, get that screw out. We can open it up. I don't see any problems immediately. The pins are definitely dirty. Look at that, yeah. Okay, that could be one problem. I feel like this one, we should just see if those pins are dirty. Let me check these pins real quick. Again, I'm just checking to see if they're loose. Especially the ones on the end seem to sometimes get loose. No problems there. Okay, no problems there that I see. We can check those more later if we have a problem with this, if we clean the pins and it doesn't work. Let's also check this battery. Set our meter to DC voltage. Put the black probe on minus and the red probe on plus. Yeah, we got a dry battery, so we'll need to replace that. So let's get this battery replaced first. Then we'll clean up the pins and we'll see if that's all it takes to fix this one. So the first thing we need is some flux on these pins. Flux just helps the solder flow. I'm going to bring in my large soldering iron and a pair of tweezers. Just lift this from the board, just like that. Here's the old one. So what I'm going to do is replace this with the battery holder. So in the future, someone can easily replace this battery if they want to. Don't know whether that makes this worth more or less. If you collect these, you tell me in the comments whether you would pay more or less for one of these with a battery holder in it. Now that we have the battery holder installed, we'll make sure and install the battery correctly. The plus side goes over here, minus side over here. This is the minus side. The top side is the plus, you know, the one with the plus sign on it. And put it in there, snap it in place, and there we go. Now with that done, we can clean these pins. And I'm just going to do that the same way we did the last game cartridge. Deox it, magic eraser, then we'll clean it off and apply more magic eraser. Then we'll clean it off and apply more Deox it. There we go. Okay, and with the cleaning part done, I'm going to come wipe up all that gunk with the cotton swab. Make sure it's nice and dry. You can see how well that cleaned those pins. They look really good. And with them dry, come through with a little more Deox it and just spread that around, wipe off the excess, and we're done. So we'll put this into our cartridge. Oh no, the holder is too tall for this one. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we can make it work. Nope. Okay, so that's a bummer. All right, well, we're gonna have to redo that then. This does work on some games. Clearly with this one, it does not. I might have lower profile ones though. Let's see what I got, and then we'll redo this part. And unfortunately, I don't have a holder, so we're gonna install this battery in here instead of the holder. So we'll flux it up again. There's already some flux on there from last time, so we don't need too much. So same thing as before. Just gonna pull up on each side of this with my tweezers. And the other side. Now we can bring in our replacement battery. Make sure that it's oriented correctly, which it is. Just put some pressure down on it. Now I know that's gonna fit, but let's clean up the joints real quick, clean up all the excess flux, just because it's a little sticky and can kind of get all over everything. Now this is gonna for sure fit, just like that. Let's see if that's the only problem with Pokemon Crystal, or if there's something else going on. Nintendo logo, that's good. Heck yeah. So Pokemon Crystal is also working. So for Pokemon Crystal, we paid $51. It's worth $150. Alien Hominid was donated. Thank you again. It's worth about $200, so today we made about $350. So we did pretty good in today's video. If you want to see a similar video where I tried to fix every broken Game Boy Pokemon game, I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come see how many of those I was able to fix. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.